Hello, dear students. Welcome back to the session on business management and entrepreneurship. So, the topic is evolution of management thought, and today we will discuss the scientific management principles. So, before going to scientific management principles, let's quickly revise the last day's session. So, what was the topic of last day's session? The first stage of evolution of management thought, that is pre-scientific period. In pre-scientific period, we discussed the major contributors and their major contributions towards management thought. So we discussed the contributions made by Charles Babbage, then the contributions of Robert Owen, who is usually known as the father of personal management, then the contributions made by James Montgomery, then the contributions of Andrew Urey, who proposed for providing technical education for management, etc. The second stage of evolution of management thought is classical management period, and in the case of classical management period, it includes scientific management principles, general and administrative management principles, and bureaucratic model. So today we will discuss the scientific management principles proposed by Frederick Winslow Taylor, who started as an apprentice mechanist in Philadelphia. He experimented his ideas and concepts, and on the basis of the result of that experiments, he made some major contributions towards management thought, and that contribution is scientific management principles. So the 5 scientific management principles are science, not rule of thumb; harmony, not discord; cooperation, not individualism; maximum output in place of restricted output; the development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. So let's see the first management principle, that is science, not rule of thumb. So what is this rule of thumb? Rule of thumb means the application of traditional methods or the methods decided by the manager based on his past experiences. All these methods are often untested and unscientific. They do not guarantee a specific result or outcome. In an organization, the rule of thumb can be seen as the dictatorship of the manager, which should be avoided. In this principle, Taylor states that there must be thinking before doing. That means the traditional methods such as trial and error method or hit and miss method, etc. should be avoided. Instead, scientific and research methods should be adopted for performing any activity. Taylor insists on the use of scientific techniques which are based on cause and effect relationship so that the objectives can be achieved in a better way with available resources, skills, and budget. Thus, the emphasis is on scientific decision making based on cause and effect and the scientific measurements of the methods. The second principle is harmony, not discord. Taylor emphasizes that there should be a complete harmony. There should be a good relationship between workers and the management. Because if there is any conflict between these two parties, it will not be beneficial either to workers or to management. So both management and workers should realize the importance of each other. And in order to achieve this, Taylor suggested complete mental revolution on the part of both management and workers. And Taylor firmly believed that the occurrence of a mental revolution would end all conflict between employees and management. The next principle is cooperation, not individualism. This principle is an extension of the principle harmony, not discord, and it stresses on mutual cooperation between workers and the management. Taylor has suggested that the managers and the workers should jointly determine the standards. Because when employees are getting an opportunity to decide the standards or to fix the target, it will increase their commitment towards the work, and that will result in the increased output and productivity. Next principle is maximum output in place of restricted output. Production maximization is the basic objective of each and every organization, right? So, any organization which serves the purpose of its survival or growth or development will definitely try to maximize its profit. Through this principle, Taylor has emphasized on the need of maximizing productivity and output. According to this principle, workers as well as managers should try to maximize the output. Because if a firm is maximize its productivity or output, it will be beneficial to workers, managers, consumers, and society. Because when a firm is increasing its productivity or maximizing its profit, then it will increase the profit, which will be beneficial for the management, and it will be beneficial for the workers in terms of increased wages or salaries. And a firm which is maximizing the productivity will be able to provide products and services to consumers at a reasonable price. So that will be advantage to consumers and society also. Now let's analyze the impact of the principle of maximization of output. We already discussed the positive impact. Then what is the negative impact? When a firm is trying to increasing its productivity, when a firm is maximizing the number of products or number of outputs, sometimes it may compromise the quality of product or services. So that is a disadvantage or negative impact of this principle. Moving to the last principle, that is development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. So according to this principle, the management should recruit or select the people who are suitable for the organization. Then such employees should be given with adequate training. There should be opportunity for the employees to develop themselves. There should be enough performance appraisal and motivation from the part of managers to help the employees to achieve their maximum level of efficiency and prosperity. So these are the 5 scientific management principles. First one is science, not rule of thumb. It means the management should adopt scientific techniques to take decisions instead of rule of thumb. The second one is harmony, not discord. This principle states that there should be good relationship between managers and employees in order to avoid the conflict of interest between these two parties. The third scientific management principle is cooperation, not individualism, which emphasizes on the importance of cooperation among managers and employees. The fourth principle is maximizing output. This principle states the importance of maximizing output or productivity. And the last scientific management principle is development of employees to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. This principle states that the management or the company should do everything which will facilitate the employees to achieve their maximum level of efficiency or prosperity. So I hope it was clear. Thank you.